Hello, hello, and welcome back to Sikich Live on this beautiful Thursday. We're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button to get all of our notifications when we go live each Thursday at 2:30 Central Time with new and exciting topics about ERP, IT managed services, security, CRM, our Sikich accelerators, including our HEADSTART program, and so much more. Before I bring on our Sikich Live guest for today, I do want to remind everyone, don't be shy in Sikich Live, as I always say. Type into the chat box and let us know if you have any questions about something that you want to know right now. That's why we're here. That's why we come live to you each week. So over the last 35 years, Sikich has helped hundreds of construction companies meet their strategic goals, grow their business, and achieve successful project outcomes from the job site to the corporate office. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about fact or fiction scenarios concerning your current accounting software, and then we'll get into a little bit about what Sikich does best, which is some of our HEADSTART programs for construction, including the Dynamics 365 Business Central software and technology services. These HEADSTART programs for construction management that we'll get into a little bit more, they integrate your critical billings, estimating documents, project management, labor, and financial information right into one place so that you can better manage budgets, schedules, field activities, customer relationships, and of course, your bottom line. But before we get to that, let's figure out what's going on with your current accounting software and throw out some fact or fiction scenarios that our presenter today, Mike Loumeau, coming to us from Phoenix, Arizona, will help us answer.
Hey, how you doing, Michael?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us once again. Appreciate having you back.
Great to be here again.
Are you ready for some fact or fiction on construction accounting software?
I am ready. I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Thanks. I almost forgot about our intro video there, and I almost started. We couldn't go without it. It just wouldn't be right. So, okay, let's get right into it. So, fact or fiction about construction accounting software shrinking your revenue. Okay, number one, best of breed industry solutions are always the best way to go.
Okay, that's fiction. There's an element of truth that's interesting in that. So best of breed, of course, just means that you've got different solutions out there that are specialized for different things. Maybe something for accounting, maybe you got something separate for construction project management, maybe you have something else for your CAD/CAM designs, blueprint, that kind of stuff, different systems. So for many people, the evolution of those systems follows the growth of their company. You know, the beginning of a construction company, one guy's doing everything, and then you add accounting people and different people, and it's kind of the same thing in construction. Mm-hmm. So the reason I said fiction is that there are software solutions out there that basically can do everything from certain construction companies. And so in that case, the accounting, the project management, everything's in one solution. That's going to be the easiest solution because it's completely integrated. And the HEADSTART program you talked about, Michael, that's a great example of that. Is that the idea is everything is in one platform. Everyone's reporting off the same information in the same place, same story, real time, none of that back and forth stuff in. So when you can get to a simply integrated solution, that's great. But in most cases, you'll have the core of your stuff there and a couple of specialty applications hanging off that integrated to the side.
Yeah. Okay, second fact or fiction for you. We haven't stumped you yet, but I'm determined. Integrated all-in-one solutions are just a little too expensive.
So I'll say fiction, but I qualify that because as with construction, it's all about the budgets that you put out there and the profitability expectations. So there's return on investment consideration here. You know, if you're a $3 to $5 million construction company, you're not going to spend $1 million on a software package, you know. So the real question is, what's the right expectation on revenue versus the expenditure of that software. So for a lot of people in that middle range construction company, they're not the huge guys, they're not just starting out. There are solutions out there like the HEADSTART program we talked about that can fit in people's budgets and make sense for them, but not at the lower end. At the lower end, no, they're probably going to end up with a best of breed solution just by very nature of the game.
Yeah. And I think that's what, our Head Start for construction service that we have within Microsoft Dynamics for Microsoft Dynamics 365 BC is just such a great solution to have, because we have spent those years, like I said, 35 years specializing in, that specific industry. So knowing the industry, knowing the companies and the organizations and the specific needs that they have can make for a much more budget friendly, I think is a good word to say. Budget friendly implementation experience, really, with Dynamics 365 Business Central, right?
Yeah, agreed. And people out there might know of the Sage 300s that used to be called Timberline, and there's solutions out there that people have used for a while. Sorry about that. That are fully integrated. Everything's in there. So there are solutions out there that meet people's price points, but it's worth a conversation to see what's right for you.
Sure. Okay, number 3 for you. Who needs accounting software when you have an accounting team? So simple, right?
I think every accountant out there would say, please give me something to make my life easier. And so I would say the answer to that is fiction. Yeah. And it's interesting because we see it on both sides. You mentioned, Michael, we have many years experience. Well, it's not just on the technology side, but on our accounting side of the house. We service quite a bit of construction companies, from the smaller builders to the family-owned, to contractors and specialty contractors out there. So we do the accounting for them. They're doing everything else themselves, but we become the outsourced accountant. So we use software, of course, to make our life easier. And I know that the accountants in a construction company, they need software. I mean, to keep that stuff in one place, to make sure your billings got on time, to track the budgets to actual, to make sure you're profitable. It's almost impossible to do without some sort of software. Granted, a lot of guys start off on Excel spreadsheets, then just do it that way. But you get to a point where that's no way to run a business, and yeah, there's got to be a better way. So yeah, you definitely want accounting software, and your accountants will back you up.
Absolutely. They will champion the accounting software, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Number 4 fact or fiction question for you. My project managers are using our construction project management software to the fullest.
I'm going to bet that's fiction based on what we see out there. And that's 2 reasons. Some of these project managers are honestly so good. They literally do a lot of stuff in their head. They know where projects are cost-wise, where labor is, what they have to do, what they have to move around. They have a lot of their stuff. And when you're talking using software, what are you using on a job site? Is he sitting on a tablet out there walking around the site, using the construction trailer? What is the guy doing? And using that stuff. But normally those guys are completely focused on the task at hand. Maybe having weekly meetings on the jobs. Are they over, under? What's happening? Risk factors. Did it rain? Do we have to mitigate that? Whatever they're working on. So they've got this stuff that's right in front of them. Where it's underutilized typically is the more strategic things that help them figure out well in advance, how are things looking? So they're probably using what they need to, but there's a chance that they could use it further if they really exploited that stuff. But you know how those guys work. It's got to have value to them, and so sometimes it's just a question of showing them the value of more of the software, and then they use that.
Excellent, thanks, Mike. So number 5 here for you of our fact or fiction questions. Outdated information isn't affecting our profit margins.
Oh boy, that's fiction for most people, and I hit it from 2 ways, right? One is we hear this from a lot of guys that because of the nature of the game, either it's the software they have or the systems that they have, they may not know if a job's profitable till the end of the job when they get all their costs in. A Or sometimes they meet once a month to look at everything and find out their WIP and see where they stand on things. And then they're making decisions. Are we 80% done, 60% done? How's that flow through? What are we still expecting to get? And there's another problem out there is that on average, through a study, most contractors can spend sometimes 5% of a budget due to rework because of poor decisions because they didn't have data at the time they needed it. And so what we want to change people is from the model that everyone's used to working at is you do your thing, the subcontract invoices come in, when they come in and maybe you forget to do that, you've got lien releases you're trying to take care of and I'll track all this different stuff. And instead of something just gets there when it gets there, let's use a real-time system that the second an invoice is recorded, it's updating the budgets to actuals on that. Your WIP's up there, everything's in there. As real-time as it makes sense. If you're waiting on a subcontractor invoice, well, if you know what it's going to be, yeah, you could put it in there, but if there's a change, you can make an adjustment. So I think the real thing is since the margins can be pretty slim on some of these construction projects anyways, the sooner you know about a risk problem or where you're going offline in advance, the sooner you can hopefully make a decision that affects that bottom line profitability in a positive way. And I just hear too much from people saying, yeah, we didn't know until we closed a job that we lost money on, So yeah, I'd say for sure that's fiction. Some guys are great at it. Some guys have a native instinct on it, but there's just too many moving parts for one guy to manage. And usually, Michael, these are collaborative teams, right? There's many people on these projects, between your foreman and the engineers and dealing with the permits and plans and all that. There's a lot of guys interacting, and not everybody wants to enter stuff into the system or look at a system. They're doing their job and they got stuff to do. So it takes discipline as well to make sure that stuff's in there because you make bad decisions on bad days.
Right. So Mike, excuse me. I'm curious I talked a little bit about Head Start for Construction that we have at Sikich, and I'm curious after going through all these questions and all these things that are currently challenging the construction industry, especially around digital transformation. Can you tell us a little bit about how Head Start and our solutions around construction technology can help?
Yeah, definitely. So we're talking to a lot of people that seem to fall in two camps. One is with our Head Start construction, which is based on Dynamics 365 Business Central, you can use just that to run an entire construction project or specialty contractor business. You can use just that to run the core of that. There's also another segment that we're working with that we hear this a lot. Hey, I'm using Sage, let's say, for example, and it's a decent thing, but it doesn't have the reporting that I need or the business intelligence or the horsepower that I need. Maybe it was designed 20 years ago or whatever. Like, it doesn't have what I need to work at a faster pace or in the cloud or all the integrated systems that I have. So we're getting asked a lot, hey, I'm using Salesforce, I'm using Procore, I'm using Sage. Can you replace Sage? Is there an option there? And we, in fact, are working with the Procore integration, working on that right now on that very case because, yeah, they want a better back-end, more robust accounting system, but they love Procore. So let's not mess with that. Or they're using a home building software from, let's say, MyTech or Constellation. And it's the same thing where that's great and there is some accounting functions in that, but maybe they have a corporate accounting or a back-end accounting that's more robust. That's another case where the Head Start comes in handy because the buckets are set up for construction already in that Head Start program. So it knows what to receive from those packages and to send back and forth. And that's half the battle, is making sure that your back-end accounting is set up in a way that it can talk to those external packages if you're using them, because you're not going to use the Head Start thing for very complex home building stuff. That stuff does what it's really good at. But for most companies that have construction projects and they're doing planning and estimating and jobs and subcontractors and percent of completion and billing and all that stuff, the Head Start, Michael, it really is a good fit for quite a few customers.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, really appreciate that. I don't have any more fact or fiction questions for you, but I do just want to reiterate and say that with all that's going on in the world, including so many business disruptors, challenging the resilience of construction companies today, a lot of the companies may not think that right now is the time to take the next step in that digital transformation journey, right? It's a little bit hesitant just because of those disruptors that we have right now. But I think that's exactly why we have Head Start. And, we are using those proven practices over many years of experience in the industry to get your organization, your company, a faster, more efficient implementation process for your business so that you can go back to business as soon as possible too. So lots of good information here. I encourage everyone watching to reach out and inquire directly with Mike on LinkedIn if you'd like, or put a comment in here, and we'll get back to you. So make sure to visit us at www.sikich.com to learn more, as you can now see the banner that's right there. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Mike, thank you so much for being with us here on Sikich Live today. We hope to have you back soon, and we will see everyone next Thursday. Thanks for joining. Bye.